Imagine driving alone on a desolate highway with nothing but the road ahead and the hum of your engine. As the darkness closes in, you start to feel the weight of isolation. But what if I told you that some of these roads are more than just pathways, they're haunted? Roads where ghosts of the past still roam, waiting for the next unsuspecting driver to cross their path. Before we dive into these terrifying encounters, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell so you never miss a spine-chilling story. You won't want to miss what's coming next. Now, let's take a journey down some of America's most haunted highways, where the supernatural lurks just beyond the headlights. Highway 666. Known by many as the Devil's Highway, this stretch of desolate road has earned a fearsome reputation over the years. Located in the American Southwest, it cuts through New Mexico, Arizona, and Utah, where nothing but endless desert stretches in all directions. For most, it's just another lonely road. But for those brave or foolish enough to travel it after dark, it's a path lined with darkness and something far worse. In 1970, a tragic accident occurred on this very highway. A man named Samuel Marks was driving home late one night after a long day of work at the mines in Gallup, New Mexico. Samuel, a seasoned truck driver, knew the road like the back of his hand. But that night, something was different. The air felt heavy, the road strangely quiet. No other cars in sight. As he drove, Samuel began to feel an uneasy presence. The hairs on the back of his neck stood up, and his eyes darted nervously to the rearview mirror. It was then that he saw it. A pair of glowing, red eyes staring back at him from the darkness. A figure, taller than any man he had ever seen, loomed in the distance, emerging from the fog. Samuel slammed on the brakes, but it was too late. His truck swerved, crashing violently into the ravine. He died instantly. The accident was deemed just another tragedy, another lost soul to the desert, but locals knew better. They knew the road was cursed, and Samuel was just the latest in a long line of victims. Since that night, travelers on Highway 666 have reported seeing a tall, dark figure standing on the side of the road, its eyes glowing like fire, watching them as they pass. Many have claimed the figure is Samuel Marks, forever trapped in the afterlife, doomed to wander the highway he once traveled. As word spread, more and more people began to avoid Highway 666, especially after dark. But even the most seasoned drivers couldn't escape its grip. One particularly chilling account came from a young couple, Sarah and James, who were on a road trip through New Mexico in 2015. They'd heard the rumors about the Devil's Highway, but like most, they dismissed them as just that, rumors. That was until they found themselves driving down the same stretch of road late one night. The air grew thick, and the temperature seemed to drop several degrees. The headlights of their car barely illuminated the road ahead, and the feeling of being watched grew stronger with every mile. Sarah, nervous, kept checking the rear-view mirror. Then it happened, a flash of red in the distance, a pair of eyes glowing in the dark. And standing right in the middle of the road was the figure of a man, They slowed the car to a crawl, and the figure took a step toward them. Sarah screamed as the figure seemed to float toward the vehicle, its form impossibly tall and thin, its eyes burning with an eerie intensity. James, terrified, slammed the gas pedal to the floor. As the car sped away, the figure vanished, leaving nothing but the faint sound of footsteps echoing in the night. The couple never returned to Highway 666 again. Some say the figure on Highway 666 is Samuel Marks, a victim of his own restless spirit, cursed to wander the road forever. Others believe it's a demonic force, taking the form of a man to lure unsuspecting travelers to their doom. No one knows for sure, but one thing is certain. Highway 666 is a place where the supernatural is not just possible, it's real. Some roads are haunted by the living, others by the dead. But there's one stretch of highway in Wyoming, Route 28, that seems to be haunted by something else entirely. A car. Not just any car, but one that appears out of nowhere only to vanish without a trace. In 1998, a truck driver named David Richards was passing through Wyoming late at night, heading toward Rawlins. His rig rumbled over the quiet highway, the only sounds being the hum of the engine and the wind outside. As he rounded a curve near the abandoned town of Jeffrey City, he saw something strange up ahead, a black sedan parked on the side of the road. David slowed his truck, thinking someone might be in trouble. He pulled over and stepped out, calling out to anyone who might be inside. The car's headlights were off, the engine silent. There was no sign of a driver. Confused and a little uneasy, David decided to investigate further. Just as he approached the vehicle, the ground beneath him seemed to shift. The car's headlights flickered on, and for a split second, David saw a figure in the driver's seat, a man, pale and with eyes wide open in a stare of sheer terror. But before David could react, the car vanished right before his eyes, leaving him standing alone in the middle of the road. He rushed back to his truck and drove off, shaken and unable to explain what had just happened. Others have had similar encounters on Route 28. In 2003, a couple named Elizabeth and Michael were traveling through Wyoming when they spotted the same black sedan. Like David, they stopped to investigate, but when they reached the car, it disappeared. This time, however, they heard something, a whisper, just a breath above the wind. A voice, barely audible, begging for help. Was it the spirit of the car's last owner, trapped in a never-ending cycle of desperation, or something far darker? To this day, no one knows what causes the car to vanish, but Route 28 remains one of Wyoming's most mysterious highways, and the stories of the vanishing car continue to haunt those who dare to drive it after dark. One of the most enduring ghost stories in America is that of the woman in white. This tale has been told across the country, from coast to coast, with slight variations in every state. But the essence of the story is always the same. A woman dressed in white, appearing along the roadside, vanishing as quickly as she arrives. In 1995, in the small town of St. Augustine, Florida, a man named John Thompson had a terrifying encounter with one of these spirits. He had been driving home from a late shift at the hospital when he spotted a woman standing on the shoulder of Route 1, a lonely stretch of road just outside of town. She was tall, wearing a long white dress that fluttered in the breeze, her hair flowing around her shoulders. John, curious and concerned, slowed his car and rolled down his window. "Are you okay?" he called out. The woman didn't answer, but instead, she slowly turned her head toward him. That's when he saw her face, pale, emotionless, with eyes that seemed to look through him. He felt an overwhelming chill. Suddenly, the woman vanished, fading into the night. John drove off in a panic, but he couldn't shake the feeling that she was still out there, watching. He later learned that a woman in a white dress had been seen on that road for decades. Some say she is the ghost of a woman who died in a tragic car accident years ago, while others believe she is a lost soul, forever wandering the roads looking for something or someone. The woman in white remains one of America's most famous ghostly legends. She may not be confined to just one stretch of highway, but wherever she appears, she brings with her a sense of foreboding and a reminder that some spirits are forever tethered to the roads they once traveled. From the haunted highways of New Mexico to the mysterious roads of Wyoming and Florida, these stories remind us that the line between the living and the dead is often thinner than we think. So next time you find yourself alone on a lonely road at night, remember, you may not be as alone as you believe. If you enjoyed these eerie encounters, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with your friends. Leave a comment and let us know if you've had any paranormal experiences on the road. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep your headlights bright and your eyes wide open.